So I got a question on an Ask Me Anything today on my Instagram, and it requires a little bit more in-depth answer. So go ahead and make this YouTube video to go ahead and answer it. So the question was, how to throw more consistent multiple days in a row. And a few things come to mind for me. First one is going to be, well, what are you really in shape to do? So for example, if you're a starter and you're in shape to throw like 100 pitches every week, then it's going to be really hard to go multiple days in a row because that isn't what you're training for. You're training for throwing a lot on one day a week, and that's what you get better at doing. So your body's not going to be ready to throw multiple days in a row. So that would be the first thing that comes to my mind, is actually training and getting ready to throw multiple days in a row. Now, obviously you can't just send it from 0 to 100 and go, well, I'm just going to velo 3 days in a row. It's just not how it works. Your volume's going to have to come down a little bit too, because there's rules to this whole thing. You can't just throw as hard as you possibly can, like 30 pitches 3 days in a row. It's just not going to work. So you would slowly increase volume, slowly increase intensity. First, I'd start with like maybe 2 velo days a week at maybe at 90% intensity at like, I don't know, maybe 10 pitches or so after you've on-ramped to that point, obviously. And then maybe you go, okay, one of those becomes 100% intensity at 10 pitches, and then the next one's still at 90% at 10 pitches. And then maybe you go slowly, okay, now I'm getting to the point where I can go 100% twice a week. And then maybe you go on from there. Maybe it's, okay, now I want to go 90% 3 times a week, or just things like that. You know, you take one step, you're at where you're at. Correctly evaluate where you are, and then take one step forward towards wherever you want to be. Now, don't take this massive step forward towards wherever you want to be. That's going to be too much. It's not going to work well for you. So establish where you are, establish where you want to go, and then take one step at a time, and eventually get to where you want to go, as far as building yourself to be able to do the things that you're trying to do. Now, the second thing that comes to my mind is just being good at recovering. So if you sleep horribly, doesn't matter how you train, you're not going to be able to perform or really adapt to these things. There's no way, if you sleep well or sleep bad or recover bad or have bad nutrition or go too high compared to too high of intensity compared to what you're actually on ramp for, there's no way that you're going to be able to bounce back quick enough. So that's really the next thing you want to look at. Once you establish this training program that's going to get you from where you're at now to where you want to go over just like this small step, one step at a time, then you really want to make sure that you're recovering after each of those things. So recovery is going to be not only sleeping, because sleeping is insanely important, which I've got a video on that. It's going to be getting the blood flowing afterwards, correct nutrition at the correct times, whole bunch of different things, which is really hard to do. It's hard to do all these things. They're very simple, but it's very hard to do these things. So those are the two things that come to my mind. Is just going to be establishing a training program that gets you from where you're at to where you want to go in a nice incremental fashion that doesn't take too big of jumps too quickly. And then also putting a massive focus on recovery. And because that's pretty hard. If you're talking about maximum performance multiple days in a row, this is not a small feat. This is something that's very difficult. It takes a lot of work to be able to do this, to train yourself to get in that position. So it's not easy by any means. Like most things, I recommend absolutely getting with somebody who has taken people from where you are now to where you want to go, and they do it consistently and safely. Absolutely recommend getting someone like that on your side. I'm sure you can find somebody on Instagram who does that really well. But those are my thoughts on this one.